In this example, we're going to learn to decompose and regroup numbers using base 10 blocks. So I'm going to get a highlighter ready so we could highlight important information in the directions. Write the given quantity using the least amount of base 10 blocks. Then we're going to decompose at least one block to create an equivalent number with a different base 10 block representation. So let's start by taking our given quantity and writing it with the least amount of base 10 blocks. And that's how we did this in the previous video. So we said 312 means 3 hundreds, or 3 flats, which we drew as squares, 1 rod, and 2 units. And now let's fill this in. So 3 flats, 1 rod, and 2 units is 3 hundreds, 1 10, and 2 ones. So now we're asked to decompose at least one block. So decompose means to break something up and into an equivalent number with a different base 10 block representation. So let's go back to this website, and we are going to write 312 using base 10 blocks, the least amount like we did before. Now, maybe you can imagine that both you and your friend have $312, and maybe you have 3 hundreds, 1 10, and 2 ones. So your friend may have the same amount, but they may have different denominations. Okay, so maybe you can imagine this, meaning maybe they have 2 hundreds, but one of their hundreds is actually 10 tens. Okay, so notice we didn't change the value. You both still have $312, but this is an equivalent way of representing 312. And notice it uses more blocks, so it's not the least number of blocks like we talked about before, but it is in fact equivalent. So notice this would be 2 flats. Now, 1 flat was 10 rods, plus we had the original rod, and 2 units. So let's put this right here. So we kept 2 flats. Then we made one of the flats 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 rods. And I'm going to put them here just so I can keep track of that. And then we kept these the same. Okay, so notice we decomposed at least one block. We actually decomposed exactly one block. We took the flat and we wrote it as 10 rods. Okay, so now this is 2 flats. Now we have 11 rods and 2 units, or 2 hundreds, 11 tens, which is 110, so it's equivalent, and 2 units. So this is an example of decomposing base blocks, which we're going to use later when we are subtracting. Now let's look at an example of regrouping. So here we have 4 hundreds, 9 tens, and 13 ones. So let's represent that using base 10 blocks. So 4 hundreds would be 4 flats. Then we have 9 tens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 13 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to put 3 of them on the next row. Okay. So this is 4 flats, 9 rods, and 13 units, or 4 hundreds, 9 tens, and 13 ones. Now notice we wouldn't write this number as 4913. This is 4 thousands, 9 hundreds, 1 10, and 3 ones. So that's not equivalent to what we have written here. But we can rewrite this with the least amount of base blocks like the directions indicated, and that will give us our standard way of writing a number. So our digits vary from 0 to 9. So we can see here, having 13 of something, we're going to want to regroup this 10 of these into the next larger block, which would be a rod. So let's do this. So these 10 ones are equivalent to 1 rod. Now notice also, I'm just going to write this here, so we took 10 units away and we added a rod here. But now we have 10 rods, and we wouldn't write 4, 10, 3. We're going to regroup these 10 rods into a flat. So let's do that in a different color. So now we have 10 rods, which is equivalent to 1 flat. Okay. And this is our regrouping. So let's write this. We have 2, 3, 4, 5 flats. Notice we don't have any rods left over. They were all regrouped. And these were regrouped into a rod, so we just have 3 units. Okay. So this number is 5 flats, 0 rods, and 3 units, or 5 hundreds, 0 tens, and 3 ones. And notice there's a spot for the number here, and this is how we typically write this number, 503. Okay. So 4 hundreds, 9 tens, and 13 ones is equivalent to the number 503.